There are some things you should know if you're applying for settlement, so for indefinite leave to remain, as an innovator or innovator founder. I'm going to go through the key questions you're likely to be asked, plus some particular considerations for family members, so your spouse and any children. So the first point is you'll be asked for your business bank statements. So they'll literally ask for all of the bank statements for the entire period. What they're looking at doing is they're looking for the commercial reality and substance of your business. They'll also ask for invoices to clients and customers. And what this is about is effectively a mini forensic accountancy exercise to see that, were you in fact paid by the people to whom you've issued invoices? Yeah, does it match up, or is it, some elaborate sort of document fraud or something like that? Which, of course, it's very unlikely to be. Now, they ask how you've developed your pricing. So they're looking here to how you pitched it against your competitors. They want copies of contracts with suppliers as well to make sure that, or check that you're the innovator, that you're not just reselling some other product. They ask for patents and trademarks. It's interesting they mentioned trademarks. Trademarks don't qualify under the IP criteria for reasons I've explained separately. But again, it's a sign of commercial reality. Then business expenditure. Business insurance, that's a point you could be caught out on. Even if it's the bare minimum, director's liability insurance, let's say, or employer's liability insurance, they want to see there's some insurance in place. Premises, they see this again as a sign of potential commercial substance. If you're working from home, and if you're interviewed, then you'd need to book a separate address to see the home office. But premises are an indicator for them. Evidence of any employees. They ask, is your business replicable? So this seems to be a standing question. They've asked many people. I've done 22 successful ILR applications so far, and it seems to be a common question. Is it replicable? Now, there's a different concept from innovation, viability, scalability. I suppose it relates to all of them in a way, but is it replicable? You will want to be saying, if this is the case, no, it's not easily replicable because of the work I've done on the product, the market traction that I have, that would be difficult for people to replicate. Someone couldn't simply just come into the market and steal my customers. The relationships that I have and the proposition that I have would be difficult to match, plus maybe the resources. So be ready for that question. Then emails and comms with clients. They want to literally see the communications you have with clients, the website and marketing material you have. They will check out your website, make sure it's fully functioning. It doesn't have any placeholder type text on it. 50K investment in spending. If you're relying on that as a success criterion, then you'd need to prove it. I do that in a specific way with an accountant's letter. 500K revenue with 100K of exports. In their standard question, they actually have this typo, but so when they copy and paste in the question, it says 50K revenue, which makes no sense. But what they're referring to is the 500K revenue, and they want to see proof of that. In some of my clients' cases, literally all of the revenue has been exports. There hasn't been a single £1 from the UK. But I would recommend having some de minimis amount just from a UK customer to be on the safe side. They ask for your qualifications. Again, they're effectively reassessing things at the ILR stage and your day-to-day involvement. Now, I have had some quite extreme cases where we've really been pushed to prove day-to-day involvement just because of the circumstances, the ways people ran the business. Maybe they were a bit old-fashioned. They didn't necessarily use email. Maybe they're more a sort of in-person type business leader. But be ready for that. They ask for your market research, comms with co-founders or other directors. As I've explained recently, it's best to do the innovator route by yourself. But if you do have co-founders, then you need to make sure that you're retaining evidence of you being involved in the business. There wasn't just this other person running the business, but you were running it as well, if that was the case. UK bank statements, they ask for personal and business bank statements. Absences. And on absences, I have got through a number of cases now where people have been off because of COVID in excess of the 180 days, and we've been able to get them through, or they've been out for other reasons over the 180 days, and we've been able to get them through. But they do say, in the form, you'll see it says, is it over 150 days, not 180 days? And the reason they seem to ask that is that I think they will more closely scrutinize the absence count if it's over 150. But don't worry about it asking for 150. The legal test is still 180. So be ready for those questions. Now, there's some specific points that I want to highlight if you're applying with family members. So if your spouse or child applies, they're going to be applying for an extension, right? You'll get indefinite leave to remain, God willing, at year 3. but they need a qualifying 5 years rather than the 3 years. So they needed an extension, and I'd recommend going for the 3 years, basically the 3-year extension. So there's no stress or drama at the or unnecessary self-imposition of deadlines. So what I'd recommend here is take as the quote visa expiry date, not your expiry date as main applicant that's coming up in within the next month or within the coming days, but simply add 3 years to the application date, your spouse's application date, minus 1 day, so they don't pay too much NHS surcharge, right? You won't be paying the NHS surcharge with your settlement application, but they'll still need to pay it. And that way that they'll be charged the correct amount of the NHS surcharge so that the application can proceed without delay. And then this is the screen where you'll enter that date. That's a heads up on that. There's various considerations around standard and priority service. I would say that with the priority service, there's little point in applying for priority for your family because their applications are going to be put behind yours. So there might be a benefit to you going for the priority service. For example, it's in theory you could get a decision within the promised 1 week. And if you do that and the decision were to be negative, let's hope not, right? But if it were to be negative for any reason, then you'd still have further time to make an in-time application before your original visa term expired. Now, it's okay if the decision took longer and you went over the visa term, it would be extended under Section 3C of the Immigration Act. And you could still make an application and any overstaying would be disregarded. But ideally, one wouldn't be in that position, of course. Now, in practice, I'm seeing most applications take longer than a week to get a decision. Even if you put them under priority, it's likely to take longer. And even in a lot of cases, longer than the 28 days, if you apply 28 days before the 3-year term comes to an end. So I would say in most cases, go for priority for you as main applicant. There's no point in going for super priority, but go for priority. But don't go for priority for the family applications. Now, there's a whole bunch of other stuff I could go into, but I just wanted to highlight some key points. My more recent applications, last couple of applications I've done, so I've done, like 22 successful applications so far. The last 2 have gone through quite quickly. And the penultimate one I did just went through immediately. That might just be the caliber of the applicants. But I am seeing on the whole that over the last, say, year or so that I've been doing these applications, because it took 3 years, right, from when the immigration route was introduced for people to get to the 3-year point. But I've seen the standards in practice getting higher and higher and the thresholds more and more difficult to satisfy, notwithstanding no real material changes in the guidance. So if you are getting questions from the Home Office, then if you want to run them by me, I'll know exactly what the Home Office is concerned about, why they're asking a specific question. And I'd be very pleased to help you. I've got a consultation service. You can get me on the link below. And the earlier, if you did want to work with me, the earlier that you engage me, the more value that I can add and the greater impact I can have on the success of your application. If I'm instructed at the very, very last minute, then I'm happy to help out. But really, if I can get involved early on, then I can see exactly what points are going to be taken by the Home Office, and then we can look at how those can be mitigated or how you can optimize your position to make sure that you get through. There's some also factors you have to take into account in terms of project management and, to be frank, managing the endorsing body as well, which is an art in itself. Of course, you can't make the application unless you get the endorsement, but I have seen endorsing bodies mess up applications through the settlement endorsement letter having issues with it. So there's some basic stuff like that that you need to get right. I'd recommend on timing as well, get the endorsement letter issued 3 months before the visa expiry, right? You don't want it earlier than that, right? Because that could cause issues in itself. But make your application 28 days before the visa expiry as well. And that's the kind of optimal window. I'd get the endorsing body lined up at 6 months beforehand. You could do that on your last review meeting. And some endorsing bodies are experienced in this, not necessarily in the right way, but some have experience, others have much less or no experience, say some of the legacy endorsing bodies, and so sometimes you have to upskill them in order to get the endorsement letter that you need to get it through. But the key point is this: the endorsement letter now is not enough. The Home Office will take their own view, thank you very much, and will reassess it, whatever the endorsing body says. So be ready with those, and those are the areas that they're going to ask about for your application. Hope that's helpful. Best of luck with your application, and bye for now.